Thank you, my man. Kern Brantley in the house with us, y'all.
What up?
Kern Brantley. If y'all don't know who Kern Brantley is, Kern Brantley. I'm gonna just do the short list. And I'm gonna start with the latest and work my way back. This is the bass player and music director for Lady Gaga. This is the bass player, music director for Destiny's Child. Also bass and music director for the Bad Boy Company with P. Diddy and Puffy Combs, Biggie Smalls and Mary J. and that whole camp. Also the bass did some work with Mary J. Blige, Neo. Now I'm gonna go to the beginning. The what's his name? The sax player, may he rest in peace. Grover Washington. The Winans, all kinds of people. This dude has been playing bass for and music director for some. Welcome to the BASSmint, Kern.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Great.
And that's the BASSmint. That's BASSmint. I got a few questions I want to ask you, man, and hanging out in the basement with us, and hopefully they're going to chime in, is another plethora of bass players. Going to my left, we got Mr. Tell us your name, sir.
Brandon Rose.
All right.
Brandon Rose, one of the hot commodities on bass out of Detroit. Sitting next to him, we got his father. What's his name, sir?
John Rose.
John Rose. We also have another Detroit bass player. Tell us your name.
Ed Tate.
Ed Tate. And we also have another parent in the house with us.
Julianne Muir.
How you doing? And on the other side we have
Hi, I'm Sage Earl.
Sage Earl. Sage the bass chick. We just did an interview with her, and I'm telling you, I put it on at 9 o'clock last night. And this morning already had 152 hits, so that's awesome. Also, we have another Detroit bass player. Tell us your name.
Mo Hughes.
Mo Hughes, and we have another Detroit bass player. Tell us your name.
Jonathan.
Johnny Boy.
He's also alumni from the BASSmint. We did a little piece with him before. Also, excuse me. Way back here we got. I remember your name because I just did your daughter's interview posted it last night, so I know your name, but tell us what it is.
Yeah, Tom Earl.
Tom Earl. Also, next to him, our gracious host, Mr. Reginald Canty.
What's up, y'all?
All right.
And then over here, another Detroit bass player.
Adam Broad. What's up?
Another Detroit bass player in the BASSmint alumni. And
Also alumni of the Michael Henderson Band.
Yeah, this dude got to play with Michael Henderson, the legend, by the way. And you know that's the music director this side of the country, music director for Michael Henderson. And all of these bass players in the house, some alumni has been in the BASSmint, did interviews with them. Go check them out. I've actually had the opportunity to interview you 3 times before, but not in the hot seat, man.
Oh yeah, it's hot too.
I interviewed you when you was overseas with Lady Gaga, and then I interviewed you at one of our now famous Detroit Bass Days. We're gonna have to talk about that. And then I did another one with you. Right here in the BASSmint, but it was about Detroit Bass Day as well. Mm-hmm. So now I get to ask you the serious questions that I've always wanted to ask you. And the first question is, when did you start playing the bass and why?
I started playing bass when I was in like just not coming out of elementary school, going into middle school. And actually I was a guitar player first. But my oldest brother, he played guitar too, so we used to fight about who's going to get to play the guitar part. So he would win. So I wound up playing all the bottom parts to the songs. So that I started taking some bass lessons with Mr. Ed Pickens. And Ed said, well, you should be playing bass because, you know, you're playing all the bass parts. So then I just wound up switching to bass.
That's cool. What songs was y'all fighting over to play? Just
Oh man,
a few of the
anything
songs.
by Jimi Hendrix. You know, of course, It's Your Thing, some Parliament Funkadelic, a little bit of everything.
Okay, now when did you get your first real bass?
Real one, let's see.
4-string.
Well, my first bass was a Crestwood, like $75 bass I got. But then I actually lucked up and found the Fender Jazz at a pawn shop for $150.
Oh, nice.
Man, I just lucked up. They didn't know what they had. Came in.
What year was it?
Boom, it was a 74.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice,
still
that's a
got
score.
that bass actually.
You still
That
got
was
it?
my real bass, yeah.
Okay, now, how, man, you know, how did you, who were some of the first bands that, when you and your brother did your thing, who were some of the first bands that y'all just started playing, I guess, cover music back in the day?
Cover stuff. Well, I had, you know, back then was a lot of bands in Detroit, you know, especially bands like Chapter 8 and Nature's Divine and that whole band era. So I grew up in that era, so I had my own band. We was called Eyes of Time. We represented like the East Side, you know, Northeastern High School, Murray Wright, that whole area. So it was just like always a battle of the bands, you know, going on in Detroit. There was so many amazing players out here. So that was my first band with my brothers. We had me, my brother Valdez, my oldest brother Louis. He plays drums. So we had like a family band, and we would go and compete and do, you know, local talent shows and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, how did you start getting into the business of being a professional musician?
Well, after high school, I met the late Thomas Whitfield, who was a gospel producer here in Detroit. So Tommy kind of took me under his wings and started taking me in the studio and put me on all the records that he was working on. Then he introduced me to Marvin Winans. And then through Marvin, I met Twinkie and the Clarks. So I was in that really heavy in the gospel circuit during that time. But the Winans recorded this one song with Teddy Riley, which was It's Time to Make That Change. So we went to New York, and then that's when I met Teddy. And then that led to Teddy bringing me back to New York to be in the group Guy. I was the musical director for them. And that just opened up all kind of doors for me in New York, you know, once I got out there.
Yeah, and I didn't like when I was naming off that list of people you played with. I left out a few of them, and then I didn't even mention the records and stuff. Anybody you want to mention, shout out to that you kicked it with?
Well, definitely Teddy Riley and Guy. Definitely Beyonce. I learned a lot working with her. Definitely R. Kelly. He's another person that's really a hard worker in the studio. One of my favorite groups working with actually was Boyz II Men. When I worked with them, we had some really amazing shows. Most recently, I've been working with Mario Winans and a lot of different other people in Detroit. But my first big break in Detroit was Earl Clue. I had an audition with Earl at Baker's Keyboard Lounge, and Earl took me on my first tour overseas, which was in Japan. So it was my first really big, like, breaking out into the dance set.
Right, yeah, I left off a lot of names, folks. So if you really want to check out this man's his body of work, go to his website. And what's the name of your website?
My website is www.kernbrantleymusic.com.
Okay, and another thing, how since I've met you, which was a couple of years ago, you've been playing with Lady Gaga, right? Mm-hmm. One of the biggest shows on the planet, and I thank you for hanging out and reaching out to me, man. But I want to know, how fast do you burn through a passport, man? Because every time I talk to you, you like You taking pictures like that? What's that gnome on them commercials?
All right.
Yeah, you be everywhere.
Man,
Rome. I can't even name. You've been in so many places. How does that passport thing work? Do you have to just keep getting them all the time, or they got a special passport for you?
yeah, I have a special passport. I have 2 passports from the State Department because while one passport is getting the work permits, I still have to be able to travel with the second passport. But this is my 4th passport that's been full. And yeah, it's a blessing, man, to see the world, you know, and play music. And like I really enjoyed. Last year we went to Israel. It was my first time in Tel Aviv, and that's a beautiful place. And also going to another country we went to was Greece and Dubai. Dubai was off the hook.
Were any of the places scary? You know, because you know how the world got issues and people with issues. Was any place scary? You know?
Oh yeah, yeah. 2 main places was my scariest place was in Nigeria. I was like, whoa. I'm walking out like, yeah, I'm gonna kick it with the fellas. Whoop.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. I mean, the security at the hotel had submachine guns, so I should have knew.
Right.
Anytime the hotel security got a submachine gun, something was up.
That's scary. Yeah, it's so scary. One of the reasons I asked, because this young fella right here, he working on his passport, getting ready for him now. He about to do some mad countries. Where you headed to, Brandon?
Virgin Islands, Iceland,
Oh wow.
Berlin, and Czech Republic.
And who you playing with?
Virgin Islands, that's with my church, and then the Iceland trip, that's with this girl from Iceland. She's like a keyboardist. She gets a group of like musicians together, and they go play in the streets and stuff.
That's awesome, man. Okay, now you know I ain't want to keep you, man, but I do kinda, but I don't want to, because I know you know you got to do what you got to do. But who are some of your favorite people to listen to? I want to say bass players, but I don't like, you know, pigeonholing the. But so who are some of your favorite bass players / musicians who you like to listen to, and stuff like that?
Well, definitely Marcus Miller. He's definitely one of my favorite bass players in the world. And then another one is Nathan East.
One of the richest bass players in the world.
Right.
Nathan East, of course, you know, Larry Graham, Bootsy. What's my man Boogie that played with Parliament Funkadelic? He was really an awesome bass player. And then Jocko, of course. So I'm just kind of influenced by all the standard bass players, and mostly James Jamerson.
Right, another Detroit bass player. And like I said, I didn't want to keep you, so I'm going to just end it like this. I'm going to go and ask the panel of bassists if they have any questions for you. Starting with whoever, anybody have any questions?
What's your favorite song to play on the bass?
Oh, favorite song to play on the bass is, that's a good question. I like this song by, you know, Larry Graham, the Jam.
That's
Larry, man.
Yeah, Larry. What about Earthquake? You like that one too?
Oh yeah, that was too hard. I can't.
Larry's killer. Anybody else have any questions?
So you talked about we're going to do the bass day at Detroit at the Music Institute. What's your musical education? I mean, besides Hard Knocks, what else do you have anything formal?
Well, when I graduated from high school, I applied to Berkeley.
Okay.
I was rejected. I didn't get in. So then that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna go back to Detroit. And I actually wound up going to school here at Henry Ford College in Dearborn. Then I took some other classes just locally, like with Mr. Ed Pickens. And then Lamont Johnson was also one of my bass instructors. So I just decided to just, you know, do it on my own study. But I did study music at Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the weirdest situation you've ever been in? Not weirdest, maybe the toughest situation you've ever been in as a bassist performing.
Oh, well, Well, one is I was doing this gig with Earl Clue, and I was stepping to the front to take my solo, and this chord popped out.
Oh.
That was, ooh, I just melted right on stage. So yeah, that was one of the toughest situations to kind of recover, because now you got to plug it back in, make sure it's working, but you didn't already like.
Did you get all Hendrix and start like whipping it around? Throw it on the ground? Put it back in your bass right now. Yeah.
I don't think Earl would have appreciated it.
It's just the beginning of my solo.
Because his music is mellow. That would have just
Yeah, they put it was with orchestra too, so it wasn't just us. It was the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. So all the string players were like, like, oh my God.
Okay, well let's give these beginning bass players a little lesson right now. If you notice his bass, the chord to the output of his bass, some people call it the input, but it's actually output. If you look at that chord, it's sitting right. Show us where that chord is sitting, right behind that strap.
Right behind the strap to make sure that you don't trip or do what I did.
That's why we. That's why we put the chord behind the strap and then bring it to the bass, so you don't trip over your chord and do what he did. Because you usually playing standing physically in front of your amplifier, and that's why we do it like that. Anybody else have any questions for him?
I got one. In terms of being a musical director, like how does that dynamic work? Between the artist and then you and then the band. Like, does she kind of, or with Lady Gaga or whoever, do they kind of paint a picture for you and then you translate it into music and then disperse it through the band, or how does that work?
Well, for each artist is kind of different.
Okay.
Like actually on the Gaga tour, I was the band leader, and Michael Bearden was her musical director, because on a tour that large, the MD really don't need to be on stage because there's so much going on, so much stuff that has to be controlled. Okay. That you gotta have a guy on stage, and you gotta have another guy like at the front of the house making sure the sound's right and everything's being executed. But
so as band, what was your job there?
Run the sound checks, run the rehearsals. Once the musical director leaves the tour, then I would take over and conduct the band and give the cues and kind of oversee all the decisions that need to be made, underneath the musical director. Right. So it's like a chain of command, The bigger gig you get, the more the responsibilities kind of get designated to different people.
Like on a smaller gig where you're kind of really dealing with the band.
Yeah.
Like how does it work in terms of you managing other people's personalities and dynamics and,
Yeah, that could be really challenging because you have to, the musical director is like the middleman between management, the artist, and the band. So the band, who are also fellow musicians, you can relate to their complaints or their problems or whatever they're going through on that tour. But when you're dealing with management, you gotta tell these are some people that can fire you. Okay, so right. You're in between.
You're the project manager.
Yeah, you can't say, well, the band wants some room, or you got a room at home. You're fine. right. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be really careful, and there's a lot of politics involved in being that middle guy. And then a lot of times artists, they don't really want to talk to the band. They'll talk to you. Hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need that. It's my job to go and translate that in musical terms to the musicians. Other artists like Teddy Riley, who's a musician, R. Kelly, who's a musician, they know what they want. So they just come say, look, this is the show. Where you get another artist, like when I was working with Aaliyah, I had to put it together and then present it to her, and then whatever she liked, cool. But if she wanted to change, that's cool, and we just go back and forth. But her not being a musician, you have to kind of give them a picture of, what it is. But we have a meeting first to kind of get their wishes and, what they want, what the vision is. They might want Cleopatra type of intro, or they might want something really big and festive. So, it just depends on the artist.
That's great, yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I only got like 3 stamps in my passport at this point. I'm nowhere near where you are. I know you've been out there for years. How do you keep yourself up when you're out on the road? Because the little experience I had with it, international travel, it's a pain in the butt.
Oh, man.
How do you keep yourself up physically to, perform and just keep going and just keep yourself in a good state of mind?
Yeah, that's challenging as well, because You know, we travel so much, and some of these flights can be 20 hours.
Yeah.
You know, to Australia was 22 hours. So you got the, you know, so we're professional travelers. You have to know how to travel. You have to know how to pack luggage. No offense to the ladies, but a lot of females come with all these bags. They got like 4 bags, and then they get to the thing and they say, oh, it's only 50-pound limit. Oh. So you got to know how to travel. You got to know how to pack. You got to know how to deal with immigrations, because there's different laws in each country that may not be the same laws that are here in America. So you can't, stuff that you can get away here, you can't get away with in Indonesia or Singapore, you know, or countries like that, or in the Muslim countries. There's certain, you know, ways you have to carry yourself. So it's kind of like you just got to be aware of, you know, where you're going. It's a lot. It's a lot of different stuff. As far as getting rest, your only obligation is really the show and the sound check. So the rest of that day, you should be chilling. You know, go to the gym, go to the spa, and relax, and use all that time, because it's not like at home where you gotta do other things. When you're on the road, you only got really 2 things to do: sound check and show. Now, going to after parties, staying out drinking, chasing chicks, that's on your own schedule. You know, so it's kind of like you got to balance it out. But, you know, there's time to rest. You know, even though we travel a lot, you can sleep on the bus, you know, sleep on the plane. You know, you can get a lot of rest while you're out there. So I always advise people to know, work out and get your rest, because you're going to need that energy every night on stage.
Definitely got to be built for travel. If you, I don't care how good you play, if you ain't built for the travel to and from, they ain't gonna work out for you.
And then you gotta know how to live with people, because you'll be living on a bus with 12 other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And you gotta know how to get along, and, you know, everybody's different. You know, everybody from different parts of the country and have different personalities, so you gotta know how to just blend in and get along with everybody.
Would you say that's a big part of your success?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I know how to blend. I had to learn that though too. You know, I've been through some situations where people didn't get along. You know, or somebody might, you know, want to watch football all day, and then somebody else might want to hear rock and roll all night. So you got to kind of, there's a give and take. You know, there's a give and take. But yeah, you know, you definitely got to be a people person.
Well, because it seems like, you know, there's so many players that are really good, but only some who are also that good can get to that next level. You know, there's got to be something about that person.
Well, I call it the nice guy factor.
There you go, yeah.
Like Nathan East, he's the sweetest guy in the world. And he's an amazing bass player. So when you got that combination of you're a great person and a great player, and you're 150% professional, people seem to want to hire you more often.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you are a very nice person, because you hung out with us at you know, these little itty bitty things with these little bass players is just starting out, and you didn't have to do that. So you're a really nice person too, to come and kick it with, you know, just regular old bass players that's trying to get where you are, and then some of us like me that ain't trying to do that, because I ain't built for travel, bro. the gigs gotta come to my house if they want to hear me play.
What about the after party?
See, and I think that's really cool that you hang out and just keep it real all the time, and hang out with the little guys and everything. And like I said, I didn't want to keep you, so just one last question, basically. Besides the Detroit Bass Day 2015 on August 8th, I don't think we mentioned the date. It's going to be August 8th at the Detroit Institute of Music Education.
Correct.
Besides that, what's Kern doing for the future here? What you got planned, bro?
Well, right now I'm actually in the process of working with 2 of my former employees, Teddy Riley, which is one, and we're building a musician's website where we're actually taking profiles, photos, websites, workshops, and seminars of all the musicians that we can gather, probably from the whole country, and putting them all, compile them into one website. So say if I want a bass player that's between the ages of 19 and 23 for this tour I'm doing, I can just say bass player 1923 Michigan, boop, his profile automatically just pop up. bam. So it's we're gonna kind of like be the middleman, because artists are looking for musicians to tour, not just young musicians but older musicians as well. I just got finished doing a gig with the Spinners, and that was really one of my favorite gigs because we got to play real music and it was old school, and the crowd, older people got money, they got credit cards, so they in there cashing it out. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like they all trying to get in free at the back door. So, so we're just opening it up. Me and Teddy have decided to get together and, with his connections and then the musicians that I know, we're going to build a network of musicians for the industry.
What else you got coming up?
And then working in the studio and preparing for the Bad Boy reunion tour. Puff Daddy, Faith Evans, 112, Carl Thomas, Mace, and there's going to be one band for the whole tour. So that's like a project that we're working on right now.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, on that note, you were talking about touring. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Cause,
yeah, sure, no problem.
I'm still got some physical challenges, and I can come down here and be sharp, blah, 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 and rip it off, but it's difficult to do it night after night after night when you start including the traveling and the moving and pulling back and forth, and then sometimes you have to do it before you ain't had enough sleep. But how do you stay consistent and nail it every night when you got all these other things happening? Because that's probably the hardest thing a musician has to do, to be consistent every night when he's got to do it as regularly as you had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like playing basketball in a way. You gotta kind of pace yourself, because every city people are looking for that fresh new show. They don't care because you were tired 4 shows ago. They know I done paid my $100 a ticket and I'm ready to see the concert. Yeah. So you gotta take it to mind, for the fans, because without the fans, we really have nothing. Because these are the people that support our career. So, like I said, I just always advise people to get as much rest as possible, drink plenty of fluids, and try to take care of yourself, by going to the gym. You have a little bit more energy, and then save that energy for the stage. Don't just go out shooting basketball or walking around all day. On the off day it's cool, but when if it's a show day or the night before show day, kind of get your rest and prepare for it, because those shows are going to keep coming. And then my brother, he always cracked me up. He said his motivation is the light man and the gas man. Don't do the show if you don't get no check, then you can't pay no bills at the house. So yeah, they keep, they come and turn this off.
All right. So now I saw you hanging out with this little 5-year-old from the Empire, the like this hot show on TV called Empire. They had this little actress. I just saw her on there. Just saw it, and then I look on the computer. She pushing you around on a fork. On a dolly. So you doing you trying to work? You working with the Empire people a little bit?
I'm working with Leah. Leah is from Detroit. I've been on her mom for maybe 15 years before all the Empire thing happened. And so, they reached out to me, because, just because I'm in the industry, I can help them with some advice. So we came up with this idea to actually, produce a song on Leah, because she can sing, she can act, she's still a little kid, but she gravitates to stuff so fast that if she hears enough or you teach her something, she'll retain it really quick. So we're in the studio working on a demo project for her.
Okay, last question, man. Unless somebody else got something for anybody else got one? Okay, I'm at it. Okay.
My question is, if it wasn't about the money and like travel to go see all these places, what would be your motivation?
Let me see. Not about the money. Hold on. I love music. Yeah.
There you go.
Music, I love the bass and all that. Yeah, but yeah, it's it's just a gift, So I look at it as a gift and a blessing, to be able to play music and to make a living from it. So that'll be my motivation, to encourage other people as well as use my gift.
Right, it's not even a job for you, right?
It's a job at times, but it's almost like a big paid vacation too. At the same time. Sometimes. You take advantage of these places when when we go to Paris. Of course, we're going to visit the Eiffel Tower and all this stuff, and when you're in Africa, you want to visit, Apartheid Museum and different things in the world. So I'm just trying to see, these things that I read about in school, and you know, have a chance to actually see these pictures.
Okay. Last question before the last question. There's two more for me. I can't control these other panelists, or bassists.
Right, exactly.
Do you yourself teach bass guitar or any instrument? Because I know we've been talking about bass, but bro, I be seeing you on key bass as well. So do you teach music to anybody?
Well, I don't have any students, but I do teach, and I do a master class on touring at Dime, you know, where I'll just kind of talk to kids about how to get auditions, you know, how to get endorsements, and you know, some of the things that they need to know when touring, you know, how to get the passport straightened out and stuff like the union and other important things like healthcare insurance and paying your taxes as a musician and incorporating yourself, because all of us musicians we're all companies within ourselves, so you can write off a lot of stuff and do a lot of stuff by incorporating yourself. So I teach like more overall classes, but I don't have any bass students.
Okay, and the last question: if we wanted to get in touch with you to, so you can share all of this detailed information, do you have a place that we can contact you, or you know, write you or ask you questions and stuff?
Well, the best thing is to go to the website, KernBrantleyMusic.com, and there's you can has an email address on there and just send an email. We're either on Facebook, but my Facebook page is full, so I gotta delete some people.
All right, well, folks, this is my man Kern Brantley, also known as Lennar Brantley. Why don't you play us out, bro? All right.